my name is Roy Dorantes, and I'm a journalist from Imperial Valley, and I'm also a friend of Beto Martinez. And so he shared with me that recently there was a loss in your family, and that of course the family is in pain, but most importantly, you want to celebrate the life of Kristin Delgado, and you want to share some things about her. So can you share some things about Kristin Delgado's life so that we can celebrate her life?
Um, okay, sure. Well, Kristen, she loved life. She loved her life. I know up to the very end, because she had just written me a letter, um, not even a year ago, a little less than a year ago, how she had seen Too Short here in Brawley when he performed at Inferno. And that's just one of the things that just got her so excited and full of life, was watching live performances and live music. And that made her really happy to hear. And she would always go to concerts like with my younger sister. She saw Lady Gaga with her. I remember going to a Pitbull concert with her in Mexico, and it took 2.5 hours for us to get there, but she wouldn't quit. She's like, I was like, let's go home, he's not gonna show up. She's like, no, like, we came all the way here. She was so enthusiastic about everything she did.
Right. Now, so Kristen loved music. She had a family, and the family loves her. The
Yeah,
family
that's where she
misses
gets a lot
her.
of her arts, or love of arts. Like, we all like to write, but Kristen loved to also write poetry, and she gets that from my mom, I think, who loves to write also. We all kind of picked that up, but Kristen was the first who was always, I remember being little and she would always tell us stories. She was always making up stories just to keep us entertained, or to help put us to sleep, or just because her mind was always, active that way.
Do you remember some of her poems, even if it's what they were about?
Um, Her poems would be anything about, like, a lot of what she would see. Something would catch her eye. Like, she'd be like, the way her shoes looked against, the concrete as she was walking, and like they blended. She would write about all kinds of things, and then she'd just go off on stories based on that. She'd be like, imagine, and she just had a wild imagination.
So she was a very creative person, very observant.
Very observant, very observant.
Yeah, I can share the same sentiment as Laura. She was a very selfless person, always concerned about others. When you would see her and she knew you, she like, how are you doing? How's everything? She was one of those persons that always cared a lot about the other people, how they were doing. And so that's something that, we really gonna miss, because she had a charm, she always had a smile on her face. You would never see her without a smile. She just had like she just had a smile all the time. I think that's just the way her face was. It just gave that off, And so, she, like Laura said, she leaves behind, she's a mother, a daughter, a sister, and we're very saddened by this loss, because, it's a void in our hearts, because, we're also a very close-knit family, even within the families, we're very close, very private, very one of those simple families that just likes to be very close-knit and
Yeah.
hang out and stuff, communicate with each other and visit each other.
And that's something I want people to know, is that she was close knit. She was close with us. Like, we never stopped remaining close. That's something that I want people to know, is that she, although she was always roaming and stuff, she always came home. She never forgot us. I mean, she, like Beto said, she'd come back, with gifts if I hadn't seen her in a little while, or she'd hear, I moved away to Long Beach. She'd always come by and she'd be like, here's this purse, I thought of you, or a shirt that says something funny, like about zombies. She'd always just think of me and all of us, and she'd always come back around and have a good story to tell, and it was always nice seeing her. I always jumped out of my bed, or I poked out, my head out of the room as soon as I heard her voice, because I would always desperately want to see her, because she would always make me laugh because of her charm and just her goodwill.
I remember when we lived in, when they lived in LA for a number of years, a long time ago when they lived in LA. One of the things we would do on the weekends, I would join them as a family because I also lived in LA. We would drive from San Fernando Valley to down Mulholland Drive towards Malibu Beach, and that was like a picnic area, a spot that we would always go and hang out with friends, and I remember that very vividly because those were moments where you were the family and just having a good time and hanging out. So she would take note and look at the beach and start talking about about this and that, and just coming up with creating a story, a storyline in her mind. So I just thought I'd share that real quick. So
Right. And how old was Kristin when she left us?
38.
38. Very young. Very young. Yeah. I am very sorry, Laura and Beto, for your loss, and my wish is that as the police investigates the incident, that this comes to a conclusion, and that your family has closure, because with closure comes healing. Is there something else you want to add, Laura?
Just I'm grateful. I feel blessed that I had a sister as charming as she was, as kind as she was. A lot of my family members have said, you look like her. They're sending me pictures, and I see you and I smile, and I'm glad that I have that as well. I just feel really lucky to have known her. I don't think I'd meet anyone as unique as her again. Her individuality is something that just stands out to me. And I hope a lot of people remember her as an individual, free-spirited, kind individual.
There's a lot of pain, and I can appreciate that, and I'm very sorry. Beto, is there something else you want to add?
No, I think, we appreciate, you taking the time to talk to us. Like I said, our families are, devastated by this loss. And, like you said, when we know more, then there comes a healing process. And, we're hopeful that, we'll get through this as strong as a family as we are. We'll get through this together. But I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and just, we really wanted to share that she wasn't alone. She had a family, and that's
right.
Really appreciate this.
Yeah, we'll miss her.
And that's very important, that she did have a family, that she was not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.